A disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where LIFT comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. LIFT. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at LIFT have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to LIFT. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with LIFT was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo, and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Good day and welcome to Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow. LIFT, L-I-F-T-T. LIFT is what is known as a Center for Independent Living. We are a nonprofit source of information, resources, and advocacy for the independence of people with all types of disabilities at any age across our 18-county service area in southeastern and south central Montana. For more information about LIFT or to make a donation to support our work, I encourage you to visit our website, lift.org, or download our soon-to-be brand new mobile app for your Apple or Android device. My name is Jed Barton, and it is my privilege to be a public relations specialist at LIFT and hosting today's program. Information, advocacy, and resources for the independence of people with disabilities. You just heard me say those words as I described what we do at LIFT. One of the cornerstones of independence, particularly one of the cornerstones of independence is the freedom of travel. The ability of a person to get where they need or want to go, be it in their own community or another community. For people with disabilities in the most rural, what the Census Bureau would call frontier areas of southeastern and south central Montana, freedom of movement can be difficult if your limitations, be they medical or economic, don't allow you to drive or own a vehicle. It is with that in mind that LIFT has embarked on what we are calling the Accessible Rural Transportation Program. And joining the show to tell us all about it is LIFT's very own Glendive Regional Manager, Jennifer Hawkinson. Welcome back to the program, Jen.
Thank you.
Before we get to the details of how the program came into being and is being designed and how people can take an active role in shaping the program, you've told us as a team a story that exemplifies the difficulties our consumers often face when needing transportation.
Absolutely.
Could you go ahead and possibly share that story?
Absolutely. So there's a couple things that came up. One was on Facebook, because I live in Glendive, and I'm on like the Glendive local channel for local page for Facebook, Miles Cities and Sydney's. And I would see all the time, hey, I need a ride to Billings, or I need to ride to Miles City, or I need a ride to Sydney, or wherever their doctoring was, and they were having a difficult time finding it.
And that's the biggest thing we're talking about, people
Yes.
just not wanting to go somewhere, but needing to go somewhere to see a medical professional.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Even dialysis, right?
Yes. So we had a guy that came in, he lived in Glendive, and he needed to get to dialysis 3 times a week in Miles City and couldn't get there. Literally had no one to take him, no one to drive him. And so that's kind of what kicked this into high gear. It had been a little dream of mine for a while, and then things just didn't pan out. So when our executive director found out that I was really passionate about this, he said, well, find a grant and we'll take it from there.
Okay. So with that as impetus, you and some of our other Glendive team members went to work and identified several funding opportunities for transportation programs, and LIFT has so far managed to secure 2 of them, correct?
Right.
One is a transportation planning grant from the National Aging and Disability Transportation Center, and the other, I believe, is what in public policy terms is known as a 5311 Capital Equipment Award from the U.S. and Montana Department of Transportation, correct?
Yes. So we actually obtained 2 ADA accessible vehicles. One is a 7-passenger van that has wheelchair accessibility, and the other is a 9. And we, so that was the beginning, and we actually had to go, we're running it through Dawson County, but we had to get special permission from the transportation program out of Dawson County to be able to get the funding.
Dawson Urban Transit has been very helpful.
Bless them. Thank goodness. Yeah.
And did you work with any of the other rural transit
We
authorities?
did. We went to like Sydney, Jordan, Circle. We did a few outreach things. And with this planning grant, of course, we're reaching out to them again. And so,
Right.
yeah, they're two different, completely different grants, and we're in the planning grant now.
Right, and that's where I was. You jumped ahead of
Sorry.
my thinking here, but that's fair. So the planning grant, we are right now in the throes of the work plan for that grant, and anyone watching this, at least for about a month or so after we tape it, if you're 2 years down the road on YouTube, sorry.
Yep.
But can help us out by taking our transportation needs survey, isn't that right?
Absolutely. So it is a QR code that we have. You can access it. I believe it's on the website.
It is.
And there's also a link. So I've been asked, like, what happens if someone doesn't have access to that? They can absolutely call either the Glendive Billings office. We're happy to help people take that survey. And it's part of the grant. We have to do this survey
Right.
because they want to know what the needs are in this area. And so you're right, we are frontier and
Right.
spread out all over Kingdom Come over here.
And again, the ability to have these funds to do the planning now, since the vehicles are on
Yeah.
on the manufacturing
Yes.
schedule, if not actively being manufactured currently,
Yes.
means that some of what we learn in this needs survey will be used in the
To apply for other grants.
to apply for other grants, for perhaps expanding service, as well as to decide how we deploy those first 2 vehicles.
Right. So we aren't going to provide transportation within the towns themselves, but to bridge those communities to each other. It is a rural grant, so unfortunately we can't count Billings itself, but we can count the other towns in Yellowstone County.
Right.
Because they are in rural areas. We just can't count Billings. So that's
Right.
kind of an important factor. But
it's if you
Yeah,
allow
go
me
ahead.
it is worth mentioning here that Billings Met Transit is an extraordinarily
oh yes,
helpful partner of Lyft in transit within the Billings
absolutely.
metropolitan planning area, to use another technical term I've learned over the years. And we look forward to continuing to work with them on the sort of the more urban side of what life in Billings has become as we develop with our rural partners this rural sort of connecting if Billings or Miles City, or even for some people even the hospital in Red Lodge or the hospital in Columbus is somewhere they need to get to.
Absolutely.
And connecting these hubs to the spokes of
Yes.
the.
Absolutely. And we run into that a lot in Glendive when people will come into the office and they're like the guy with the diabetes and needing to get to dialysis. We have more than just that come in and say, I have got to get to Billings for an appointment. Miles City has a cancer center. So people trying to get there too has been a very difficult process for people.
Right. That's right, because there is a cancer center at Holy Rosary in Miles City, but there's not at Glendive Medical Center.
Not
correct?
Glendive. Nope.
Okay.
No. And I recently found out about somebody that was diagnosed and they're actually going to be coming up to Billings for their treatments.
Yeah,
So,
that's not unusual.
not uncommon,
You've
right.
passed consumers my way, or other folks in Glendive over the years have passed consumers our way at the Billings office because they basically end up living here for at least a while while
Yes.
they're receiving treatment.
Yes.
So yeah, we're taking a first step, and ideally that someday maybe there's 10 vehicles out there, 20 vehicles out there with Lyft.
That's my hope, is to expand. Absolutely. This is brand new. And there was a meeting in Washington, D.C. I was not able to attend. I had a family emergency, but I was told that we were the only independent living center that was a representative there, which was really interesting to me.
I know, just having been at this a while, I know of other independent living centers that have operated rural transit before or attempted to operate rural transit, and it's a lot of pieces do have to fall into place.
Absolutely.
And again, we're working very hard to make those pieces fall into place.
Yes, yes. We do have like, it's an advisory council to kind of keep, make sure we're on track and we're getting that right information.
In that council, there's room on it for what we at Lyft would call consumers.
Yes, yeah, aging or disabled, that's what it kind of covers.
Yeah, if you're aging or disabled and have a transit need, if you want to take the survey, please take the survey. And if you're interested in helping out more, we do need people on that advisory council.
And stakeholders.
And as well as stakeholders such as other community organizations and I don't know about other transit providers, whether they count. I haven't read the
We're
grant.
definitely reaching out to everybody we can possibly do.
Right.
One thing that we had talked about briefly is hoping that we can find a stop in each town that would be like a bus stop, which I'm super excited about. But we're so early in this.
Yeah, we are.
Like a month and a half into this.
We are a month and a half into this. Again, a projected date, if all of the I's and all of the T's are dotted and crossed, is we'll have a test run, a test route.
I'm hoping by fall of 2025. Yeah.
It's December. Today it's December the 11th of 2025. I think it would be fair to say by October or November of 2025. Today is December 11th, 2024.
Yes. Yep.
And so yeah, it's going to be a process, and again we are lucky that not only do that we have both of these pieces of the puzzle, because again, we would still be planning all of this, but we now have a little bit of funding to do it more deliberately and with certain guidelines. And again, I know you're excited about this. I'm excited about it.
Anybody I've talked to has been very excited to hear this, especially in these outlying counties that Lyft covers, because there just isn't.
Yeah.
There are some counties that will have a bus that comes maybe once a month to Billings or something.
Right.
We can help to fill those gaps if they're have too many passengers, or that is our plan.
Right. That
we're still working on the route part, but we'll get there.
It is collaboration, sort of stitching together coverage.
Absolutely.
Through collaboration that, where we're not looking to duplicate or replicate or compete, for heaven's sake.
No.
But we are looking to work together to, that we all bring what we bring to the table and we make it go farther.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to work together with people, not against each other.
Right. So, yeah.
The surveys are really quite important for people to do right now.
Yeah.
We have given ourselves a timeline of 6 months, and that started October 1st. It seems like a long way out. It really isn't. It's going to fly by before we know it.
6 months would be 1st of April.
Yep.
From October 1st. So
Yep.
So if people can find the survey at lyft.org, if I been thinking ahead, I would have had the full address for the survey page loaded into the telestrator. But you can find it at lift.org.
We have
You can find it-
posters hanging around.
We have posters hanging around various communities. We've we've hit everywhere from Ekalaka to Huntley to Columbus to Rygate. Again, one of the things I've learned is that if the 18 counties that Lyft serves were their own state,
They could be, because we're big enough.
size-wise, yes, population-wise, not so much.
Right.
But size-wise, they would slot in between Pennsylvania and Mississippi, somewhere in the upper middle of states by size. I mean, you've got the really big states like Montana and Texas and Alaska, and then you've got a bunch of the states in the Midwest and the South, you know, from Pennsylvania west, that are all roughly, that are bigger than the states in New England, and but yeah, so
We
think
have a
about
huge
that.
area to
We
cover.
serve this area, and the transportation program is part of it. You know, we dream someday of, offices maybe, or at least office space where people can travel in and out in Miles City or in Sydney or in Hardin or down on the Northern Cheyenne and Crow reservations. Again,
Yeah, right now we're just deploying people from the Billings office and the Glendive
right,
office.
exactly, and that does. While we do a magnificent job, particularly providing individual independent living services, it does mean we are not embedded in the lifeblood of all of our communities. That
Right.
They don't see us at the grocery unless you're in Glendive or in Billings. You don't see us at the grocery store, or we don't worship with you. We don't. Our
Right.
kids don't play Little League together. And again, to be a true center for independent living, and again, we could talk about how, much like transportation planning in this country, centers for independent living were creation of our urban brethren. But to be a true community center for independent living, we kind of need to be embedded.
We're working on it.
And we're working on it. And
We're
if
doing a
somebody's-
lot of outreach.
And if Mackenzie Bezos happens to be channel surfing on YouTube, give us a call. We'll tell you where to send the check.
Yes.
In a more serious vein, we do have a donation page on our website, lift.org. I believe it's lift.org/donate. And so that as we are entering the holiday season, if you would be kind enough to consider Lyft in your year-end giving, we would greatly appreciate it. Again, we are as bare bones an operation as you will find, and every dollar you give us will go to something useful.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, sort of sum up here. People can look for the survey on our website, lift.org. They can also find it.
They can give us a call.
They
and
can
we'll
give
help
us a
them.
call, and we can help them find it. We really want to hear from people. If it takes us, sitting there on the phone and typing in your answers, we'll do it.
Even if people don't think it pertains to them, they probably know somebody that it is
Right.
going to impact. So encourage everybody.
And again, that's another thing, is that it may not impact you today, but disability is not only the largest minority group in American society, it is the only one that anyone, regardless of their intersection with any other minority group, can find themselves a member of in an instant. And so, you know, so we, to the folks particularly outside of metropolitan Billings, you know, we encourage you to tell us what your needs are, tell us where the gaps in service are so that we can start to work on filling them.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, Jen, thank you. We'll look forward to hearing more about the project as it becomes, as the plans become more concrete, and maybe, you know, someday we'll film one riding around in one of our vehicles. Thank you. Again, this has been Living Well in Montana, a program of living independently for today and tomorrow. For more information about Lyft, you can visit us on the web at liftt.org or give us a call at 406-259-5181 in Billings or 406-948-8500 in Glendive. Thank you and good day.